This is Kimmy, the Vraj, and they will be interviewing me.
Yep.
Take it away.
Here it is. So welcome to this episode of From Fields to Flights. Today, we are super excited because we have Jay with us, who has such a wealth of knowledge, has had such a journey, and we're so excited to bring that to you. And another thing that's really cool about this episode is all the questions, Jay, are from aspiring pilots. So we haven't put any of these questions together. They're all from people who genuinely want to know about what it is to be in your shoes. Okay. So should we get started?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Jay, tell us a bit about yourself. So like, when did your aviation bug start? When did it actually hit you that you want to go into it?
It started a while ago, I think, when I was a lot younger, probably like in my early teens, surrounded by planes, living in Northolt, you know, growing up with the Queen going over our heads, flying in and out, all the military planes, and then obviously near Heathrow as well. Yeah. And then going down South of Broadway, seeing all the toy shops, and they had all these helicopters and planes as well. I was like,
I love that.
One of those.
I love
and that. Was
that.
really
Still do that?
I haven't been there in a while.
I need to take a trip then.
Yeah, definitely need like a weekend out of it. Yeah, they're the OG models, you know. There's no Boeing or Airbus. This is like whatever they fly, you know.
Oh, fair enough.
So that was probably it. And then I met some people around where I lived as well that introduced me to like the Air Cadets. Nice. But it was never something that I thought I could see myself doing. It was just like, oh, this is quite cool. Is this what people in England do? Just become pilots, you know? Okay. And but my dad was always cool. He was always like, you know, do what you want to do as long as you keep a good reputation and do something that you're proud of. And you know what? I'm bloody proud of this. So
you should be.
Yeah.
You should be.
That's
it's amazing.
And how did you start and get into it?
So I tried to get into it through the EasyJet program via CAE. And then we got through it, but then they wanted a lot of money, as you know. And then being an immigrant family at that time as well, we didn't have any of that money. So that wasn't an option. And then I thought, you know what, I'll still do aviation degree in my bachelor's and have that as a fallback. And then just one door opened after another. And then there was plan B, which didn't work out, then plan C, which finally worked out. And I just did everything from there to get to where I am, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a long bloody road for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, do you know what? One of the things that we have in ourselves as aviators is resilience. So that really came through when it needed to.
That's good. It's like you were a pilot through and through because you had plan A, B, and C. Pilots always have an alternate.
Yeah,
right?
You have to have redundancy.
You have to, for sure.
Always, yeah.
And also that resilience. I think a lot of that comes from also being from a Punjabi family. You know, we see our parents work so hard and they come here with not much. And then, you know, we kind of utilize that resilience to get ahead as well. So
yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And I think there were certain role models within my family that helped a lot. Not because of like what they did, but their work ethic and, you know, waking up at 3 a.m. Like my dad wakes up at 3 a.m. every single day for Amrit Villa, and he does that work ethic. And even though hopefully one day I can do the same, but I still apply that work ethic into other parts of my life. And it's just always been like that.
That's how it should be. It's amazing.
It is.
So the EasyJet thing didn't work out. So you went to university. How did you go about your pilot training? Because there are so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
What did you do? Like, how did you find a school? How did you say, okay, this is my path in?
So when the EasyJet thing paused up, I didn't really know where I stood. You know, it's quite hard at that time, especially, to find people who give you information because nobody knows. You know, there's not much out there at the time, and you kind of have to wing it, you know. So when I was at uni, I was doing aviation management, and it started off being a pilot's pathway. So they said, okay, when you do this bachelor's degree, we'll introduce you to flight schools and fund part of your training. I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I want. And then like 2 weeks into it, they said, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. And I'm like, but I'm now stuck doing a degree that I probably won't even use. But then like a few months into it, one of the representatives from a flight school came over and talked about a flight school in Michigan in USA, and it looked incredible. You know, sunny skies in the summer, flying around all these amazing planes, and I was like, this could be fun. So then, first year of uni in the summer, I went to Michigan and I did my private license, and it was like 5 weeks. Just every single day. Oh, it was the best thing ever. Really? Honestly, it was just so much fun. Okay. And it was like the dream come true. You know, you're waking up in the morning, you're 3 hours of flight training, come back, do some studying, and then you go and eat American food, you know. Definitely put on a lot of weight that time.
I can imagine, yeah.
But yeah, I did that in 5 weeks, and then I thought, this is the best place for flight training, you know. Because in the winter, it's like -20, so you get all the winter ops as well.
Wow.
And then I decided I'm going to finish my uni and then go back and do the rest of my training.
And that's what you did.
And that's what I did. But obviously I tried so many different things while I was at uni as well.
Right, okay.
To like fund it once, but then also kind of reassure myself that this is actually what I wanted to do. So I tried to be a journalist.
Wow.
Which,
Really?
yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, but I was like, there's too much gossip for me. I don't want to, I don't want to learn.
We have enough gossip at home as a Punjabi,
I'm trying to get away from that now, So we tried that, didn't really work out. And then I tried to do DJing, which was really fun. And then I just made a lot of money in that summer, and that went towards my flight trading, which is really good. And that's one thing I would like to do in the future as well, get back into it. But
DJing.
it kind of just reassured me that, you know what, I don't belong here. I just want to 37,000 feet, and that's where I want to see the world from.
I just thought DJ, like DJ. Do you know what I mean? Like Jay.
Yeah, it's so original.
So you went to Michigan. How was that like transition? Because a lot of Punjabi boys nowadays, like a lot of them are like very coddled and like smothered, and they don't really know how to do much. So you went from a Punjabi household to Michigan. How was that transition for you?
It was very interesting because being Punjabi and of course like Afghan Sikh as well, our community is solely based on business. If you go around West London or Birmingham, for example, most of our community, all they want to do is make money and have a stable business, which fair play to them, it works out and it really provides for the first generations. But I just never thought that was for me. So when I said to my parents, like, hey, I'm going to go to the States and do some flight training, they're like, whoa, calm down a second, take only down, there's one down the road. I'm like, no, it's not.
That is such a Punjabi thing,
they're like, literally, because the thing is, we went flying in Elstree and Brighton, or I can't remember, Bournemouth, I think it was, So they knew they existed, and then for me to say, I'm going to go across the Atlantic Ocean to do some flight training, they're like, why?
Kare baitho.
Kare baitho, do this, it's cheaper here, but actually it wasn't.
It's not.
So it took some convincing for sure, and then I think our community is really based on what other people think of you as well.
Very true.
The expectations, and if you're not doing what they want you to do, then you're doing something wrong. So that definitely played a part as well. So we had all these people around us saying, "Oh, why are you sending your son to the States? Don't you want him close to you?" They have a very closed-minded brain, I would say, and it takes a lot to open that up, So it took some convincing, and then obviously I went, and every milestone was celebrated with my family, and they realized, oh, actually, this probably was the wise decision.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the funny thing is, when I came back and got my first airline job, everybody was celebrating around us and saying, "Oh, we told you to go." I'm like, "No, you didn't. You told me to sit at home and eat samosa. That's a whole different thing."
I love that. That's so true. It's true. And I think it's interesting you say that, because a lot of the time people think that girls have that kind of stigma, like, okay, girls should stay at home, shouldn't go that far. But then for a guy to have that same reaction, it's interesting.
We have a very close family and friend circle, and it's just always been like that. We've always been close with each other. So for someone to kind of branch out to a whole different country was never done before. Like, me and my sister were the first people in our generation, in our family, to go to university, let alone have white collar careers. Because everybody I know has their own business, and they're 10 times richer than I am, but it's something that they followed through. So to do something different is one thing, but then to do it 3,500 miles away is a completely different story.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you flew in Michigan. What was that like as a student pilot, going from here to there? What did it look like for you?
Imagine freshwater lakes, amazing houses everywhere, incredible planes, doing aerobatics, flying a seaplane, landing on the water.
That's incredible.
And you would never get that here.
We need to.
You need to do that.
Well, I did. You're in the wrong place. I trained in Florida, so
there you go. So
we made the move.
Mine's just built up areas, greenery.
IKEA,
There's the M25, great.
It's not
it was good. I mean, the scenery was amazing, the flying was incredible, and it's a lot easier to learn out there because they're very accommodating with it. You can go to a Class C airspace in the USA and just tell them you're a student pilot, and they will look after you completely.
Yeah, they're used to us.
Very, very, very good. Oh, no way.
Yeah, they'll tell you to.
Like 6 years of planning to transit.
That's
no
crazy.
thanks, I'm good.
Yeah.
Just to see what, Luton?
That's very true.
It's crazy. So if we had an aspiring pilot looking right now, and they're in the process of choosing, okay, should I train here? Should I train there? what would be your advice, here or there?
It depends on what kind of lifestyle they want in the future. So one thing I would say is, yes, I did enjoy the flight training, and it was the best sort of flight training for me because it was so broad. But that also meant I'm going to have FAA licenses, and I didn't really want that in the end. It didn't really suit my lifestyle. So if you plan to live out in the USA and fly only there initially, go for it. That's perfect. But if you want to come back to Europe and the UK, it takes a lot of work to come back and convert it. So I would say stick to the flight training here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really good. Perfect.
And within your flight training, nothing goes smooth sailing. What was some of the challenges and bumps that you faced along the way?
Weather obviously was the biggest, especially in the winter. And the thing about being in a flight school so far away from home is that you're kind of stuck there, you know. So even if you're not flying, you can't just come back home and be like, okay, let's pause and do something else. I was there through winter, and it's -20 and there's a blizzard, and you're grounded. But as pilots, you have to use your time efficiently. So even though we're on the ground, you still study, which is quite good. The instructors were amazing. The locations are great. Like I could take a Cessna 172 and go to Chicago and just, land behind a 737.
Amazing.
So all the diverse flight training, I would say, was the best part of it. And those kind of things you would never get over here. It seems a lot more structured here as opposed to over there, I would say. Could be beneficial, but I think as a pilot you need to be exposed to all different types of environments. 100%. And in a place like Michigan, you definitely have that. You have all 4 seasons, you have all the planes that you can think of to fly. So I would recommend it if you want that.
Amazing. And in terms of, pilot training, there are wins and there are also failures. It happens. It's such an intensive process. No one's really going to get through completely perfectly. Yeah. Was there any mistakes or failures that you had that, taught you something and actually allowed you to grow during your training? Oh
yeah, absolutely. I think one of my biggest challenges was being a flight instructor, because that was the end goal when I was there. It wasn't, to be fair, when I was training at the time, I kind of forgot that I wanted to be an airline pilot.
Oh, really?
Because you were just having so much fun flying general aviation. You're just like, this is it, this is what it is. Yeah, it was amazing. So my end goal at that time was just to be a flight instructor and teach, but that was the hardest thing I've done. And
really?
It just so happened that my skills test as an instructor was in the winter, so I had to fly the Piper Arrow down to another town where the instructor was there, but then his boss was also examining him. Ooh. So it was my examiner doing my test, and then the FAA guy examining him. So I was like, okay, this is a lot of pressure.
That's a lot.
And it was 6 hours of sitting like this around the table and talking about whatever they asked me, So it was really intense. And I failed the flying part initially, and I thought, okay, wow, I am not made for this. And it was just a tough pill to swallow, because you do everything and you get to that part, you're like, damn, I failed, And it was like the first failure I kind of had as well, which really set me back. So I just took a month off, and I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. So I went to California to a sickie camp,
nice.
as you do, and just recalibrated. And I came back and I just said, okay, look, where did I go wrong? Let me focus on that, build from there. And I called the examiner, and he said, look, honestly, you did fine. It was just a couple things. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that before? But yeah, I passed the second time, it was fine. And honestly, there's always going to be multiple failures, for sure. Every part of your life. And it's just how you get back up. I'm sure you know
to be fair, I mean, it's good. Like that CFI check ride, I mean, the pass rate for that is it's a hard check ride to pass, very long.
Yeah.
And in that moment, if you do make a mistake, it's good to know, because you're going to be teaching someone else.
Exactly.
So you want to be perfect, or as close to perfect as possible. So it's good that you made that mistake whilst you're with an examiner than with a student.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
Yeah, there's always a bright side to it. And you had such a positive approach to it. You took a bit of time off, came back, fresh pair of eyes, let's go. So
if that works for you, that works for you. You have to adapt. Obviously, during the flight training as well, plenty of other failures outside of the flying part, which really affected my flying. But we can come back to that.
Yeah, we will. So Jay, you are an instructor. Like, what is that like, being an instructor, being responsible for, another student, watching them grow? What's that feeling? And also, what was the biggest things that you noticed people were doing wrong? What's the best advice? Just tell us about being an instructor.
Please don't say white rudder.
Oh,
Right
man.
rudder.
I
Oh.
will always say
Yeah,
right rudder.
there was an
always.
instructor that apparently
Never
had
enough.
it tattooed on their like right leg, like
Oh,
right
wow.
rudder.
Shorts,
Yeah,
point
always.
Yeah, like, right
short
rudder.
shorts.
It's crazy. But yeah, what was your instructor experience like?
It was the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, I think. I was teaching students from China, actually.
Wow.
So it was like the CAE equivalent of an airline in China. So we would have students come over, they would do all their training, and then they'd go back and do their type rating on whatever respective jet that they got the job on. And it was very weird at the beginning because a lot of them didn't speak English. So
Yeah, I was just about to ask, how was that language?
yeah, the dynamic and the language barrier was insane. Their flying was amazing, don't get me wrong, and they're very, very dedicated. You know, a lot of them are like rice farmer kids that
Wow.
give up everything to come over to the USA and live the dream. And yeah, it was really cool, but I realized a month into the job that it wasn't just flight instructing. It was teaching them how to live life as an American citizen, speak English, communicate in public, be civil in certain ways, you know. So it was a big responsibility. But flying-wise, they were all amazing, honestly. They were very hardworking. They always put in the work in every single license that they did. So my pass rate was pretty good. I think I had one kid who didn't make it, and it's just part of what it was, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the flight school gave him enough opportunities
Right.
to do it. And that's just, as an instructor, you just have to take that on the chin. You know, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, honestly, seeing them grow as pilots and as men, because most of them were guys, I would say, it was interesting and it was very fulfilling, you know, especially the first solo. You're like, wow, am I ready for this?
I can imagine.
I was more scared than he was, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently instructors are though, because I feel like from the start, if you're training with the same student, you develop this bond with the instructor from day one. And I feel like when you've been flying as dual and then you get to a point where you're going first solo, you're on your own, the aircraft feels a bit different as well.
It does.
And that first, for me personally, for that first takeoff was like, it felt a bit empty. And I can understand how the instructor might be feeling like it's all up to him now. And and it is under the license as well.
It is under the license, yeah, exactly. And I think for me, I don't know how it was for you guys, but I remember my first solo. My instructor is actually one of my closest friends now as well. So we definitely had a special bond, you know. Big up Brian. And I remember my first solo, we parked up after doing 3 takeoff landings, and he said, "Okay, Jay, off you go." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because you're supposed to tell your student to prepare them, but he gave me the element of surprise and did not tell me before. Yeah, and so he got off next to the control tower and went up and watched me. And I did my first takeoff and landing, and I was quite nervous, you know. And then I was like, oh, this is easy, you know.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing again and again. Like, he told me that, and I'm just going to do it, you know.
You just trust the training.
Yeah,
innit?
exactly.
Yeah.
And yourself, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And I got up, and then during the downwind, I'm like, all right, you know, I've trimmed it out, it's all good. Started taking photos.
I love that.
And then I realized as an instructor, damn, I hope my student doesn't do exactly what I did, because
Yeah.
that's bloody dangerous, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, top tip, first solo, do not take any photos.
Yeah.
Just concentrate on the flying.
Yeah. The door opened in my first solo.
No way.
Yeah. So on downwind, I was like trying to shout, but because of like the pressure, I wasn't able to. And then I was like, I just did one pattern, and I was like, I'm done. I need to recover from this. But
Oh,
yeah, that was
wow.
my first ever solo.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your solo in?
It was 152. Yeah.
Mine was a Cherokee.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cute little Cherokee.
I actually have a tattoo of the day of my first solo.
No way.
Yeah.
The date?
The date, yeah.
What date was it?
12th of August,
Wow. You got it tattooed?
Cool.
That is amazing.
2012, yeah.
I love
A little
that.
paper airplane.
I love that so much. I love that. Amazing. That's amazing. So, okay, so you became an instructor. What would you say is your top tip to student pilots? Because being a student pilot is not easy. You know, you're away from home, most likely. And, you know, flying is really different to anything else you ever do. You know what I mean? So what would be, like, what is the biggest thing people do wrong? And what would you say, Instructor Jay, what would you say is the way to fix that?
I think the way to fix that, from my perspective, is open communication between you and your instructor. If you have that element of fear, you're never going to pass. And maybe you might pass, but you're never going to be safe. And if you have open communication and really talk to your instructor about what you don't understand, that's the only way you're going to honestly keep your life. And because your student pilot years are some of the most important years. So much information gets grounded in your brain, and you take that away from you for the rest of your career, you know. And if there's certain things that you don't understand, but you're doing it just for the sake of doing it, that could be, you know, a question between life and death at one point. So I would say, honestly, open communication, always ask if you don't understand something, and just keep going from there.
And what's your advice to flight instructors? What would be the key thing you would say to them?
Give them the benefit of the doubt as well.
I love
It
that.
sounds a bit counterintuitive, but you have to, you know, like they're still human beings, and you've been a student before, so you know the pressures and you know what it's like. Especially nowadays with everybody doing so many different integrated courses, there's a lot of pressure.
There is.
Not just from the instructors, but from the airlines and financial pressures. So really just give them the benefit of the doubt, and if one thing doesn't work, try another. If that doesn't work, just keep trying.
I love that. That's good.
And what would you say would be a tip to keep students motivated whilst they're going through the training? Because you do come across some bumps, challenges, but what would you say is the best way to like keep yourself motivated?
I think you have to constantly remind yourself why you're there. I think the biggest thing that we share as aviators is passion. And if you're constantly reminding yourself that actually this is what I'm passionate about and this is what is going to set me up for the rest of your career and your life, then you'll get through it. And honestly, there's going to be so many other things that will put you down and make you feel like you might not belong at times, especially training in America. It's happened. But if you're there for the reason you are there, then you'll get through.
So let's talk about that. So that sense of belonging. So obviously you wear a bug, you're a sardar. Did you ever have any reaction to that, positive, negative? How was it being a sardar in aviation?
It's been a very interesting journey. I think flight training wise, I was in a small city in northern Michigan, and they had an international school which was adjacent to the flight school. So there were people from all over the world. So I think that part of it was quite cool because everybody was very intrigued and very open-minded. So that was quite cool. Obviously flying into certain parts of the USA as a student pilot with a bug and with a start was very different. Like I remember flying into Nashville for the first time for the weekend on a long cross country, and they were like, whoa, hold on a second.
Really?
Like, you came out of that plane?
No
yeah.
Wow.
And and the thing is, when the flight school I was flying at, there weren't any uniforms. You could just wear whatever you want, you know. So it was very chill. So then I loved being comfortable in the flight deck.
You definitely wore shorts, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a shorts guy, you know.
Oh my God.
No right rudder tattoo, but definitely a shorts guy. So shorts, hoodie, t-shirt with a judah in the back, you know.
Wow.
I was always comfortable. So we come out of the plane into the apron, and everybody's like, okay, like what the hell are you doing here, you know?
Is it?
So that was quite interesting. But honestly, if you're just confident and you know, like you're on the ground and I'm the one flying, so you shut up, you know, it works out in the end.
Yeah.
And then coming into getting a job in Europe was very, very different. One of the airlines that I actually passed the assessment of didn't get me the job for this particular reason. And they didn't want to bug in the flight deck. So I was like, well, you're not the right airline for me, you know.
Yeah,
so another top tip, once you start looking for jobs, it's not just about you finding the right airline, it's about them finding you as well. It has to be a good match.
You're
So
the prize. You're the prize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that you really have to, you know, take that into account. So after struggling for so many years to finally pass all the assessments and then be like, okay, you're not going to be allowed to wear your bug. I'm like, well, okay, then I'm not going to work here, you know, simple as that.
It's not the right place for you.
So that was okay. And then coming into my further part of the career, into private aviation, I had a similar issue. And they were, you know, after doing the apprenticeship and after flying the jet and doing the type rating, they said, okay, we don't want you to wear the bug. And I said, well, why not? I've clearly shown that I'm good enough and that hasn't affected me at all. So in the end, I wore it anyway. I don't know.
What was the reason they said why you can't wear it?
In private aviation, it's a bit different. The level of clientele was very different.
Right.
So in a certain, from a certain particular aspect, I can understand their view, but it doesn't justify me not wearing a bug at all.
Because it doesn't affect your ability as a pilot.
No, it doesn't.
It absolutely doesn't.
It doesn't, and I think the only thing it should have done is strengthen their exposure to the industry, if anything, you know. And it was one of those things, they suggested that it might be a problem from their clientele, but I was like, actually, if I'm the first person wearing a bug in the airline, how do you know that's an issue?
That's right.
You
You've
know?
got to try it before.
And actually, when I was wearing a bug in airports, some of the ground staff like, oh, I've never seen a Singh working in the private jet. This is amazing. I'm like, well, thank you. Please tell my airline.
Yeah.
Can you give them a call?
Yeah.
But yeah, and now I'm in the best airline I could think of, and everybody's very welcoming from day one.
That's
and
brilliant.
I feel like I belong here now, you know.
Yeah. So you've kind of been through it. You know, you've
Yeah.
had both sides of that reaction.
Yeah.
For anyone struggling, because there are people nowadays who, like, especially younger men who are, you know, wearing the stud and they're navigating that. What would you say, like, if they're really struggling with it, what would be your advice to them?
Go back to your grassroots, you know, like don't change who you are for the sake of a job. And yeah, it might hurt that you might not get in certain airlines or certain areas of the world just because of who you are. But you know what, the world will change, and that's why we're here.
100%.
So yeah, don't change who you are. I certainly try not to. You have to adapt, that's different. But yeah, keep to your grassroots. Yeah. So one of the other challenges I had when I was flight training, during some of the licenses, I was able to work part-time in the admissions office at the college, which was associated with the flight school, the international college. So I got a job just to kind of like keep up with expenses and make sure I could, you know, afford those donuts and stuff. So I was working there for a couple of, like, I think it was 2 weeks. And I hated it, honestly. It was like, sitting at the admissions office, talking to people who wanted to pay money and enroll in courses and entering data and whatever. And the people were amazing. You know, I had a great time with them. But the job itself was just, honestly, it was disheartening. Literally 2 weeks into it, the manager came and was like, Jay, can we have a word? I'm like, yeah, sure. And here's me thinking like, yes, I'm going to get promoted.
No way.
I swear. And I'm like, oh, I'm entering good numbers here, you know. It's working out well.
The sales are going up.
Yeah, the sales are going up. We have more students. And then he called me, he's like, oh, this is not working out. I'm afraid we have to let you go. He's like, yeah, you've been great, but...
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah,
it's like a breakup.
You know, like, where have I heard that before, you know?
Oh, gosh.
And honestly, I was so shocked at that moment. I'm like, it's been 2 weeks, man.
2 weeks?
Wow.
2 weeks.
You didn't even get past your probation.
Yeah, honestly. And then at that moment, I went home and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I can't even do it. He just said, oh, you know, we're not... It's just, just didn't really work out. They're very kind when it comes to...
The same place where you were training?
Yeah, so where I was training was a flight school associated with a community college.
Oh, okay.
And the community college had like an international program. So there were people from all sorts of the parts of the world. So I worked in the admissions office. And then 2 weeks later, he called me into the office and was like, look, it's not working out, sorry. And I was just shocked.
Like, give me a chance.
Yeah,
like,
it's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Yeah,
I'm still settling in.
exactly. What was your name again?
Who are you?
Can you fire me? Can I fire you? What's going on here? But yeah, honestly, I went home. I'm like, whoa, I can't even keep a simple desk job. How am I going to fly a bloody plane, you know?
Wow.
So that was quite tough. And then I told the representative who actually told me about the flight school. And he just laughed. He's like, man, what the hell? Like, what are you doing here? You know, you don't need to work there. You're flying planes. And I'm like,
wow.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah,
and that really helped me focus on what really was important. You know, I might have less donuts per week because I didn't have that much money, but you know what? I was nailing the flying stuff. So that really like reinforced why I was there and what I was made for. You know,
That's
so
good.
now if I ever look at a desk job, I am gonna be fired.
You're flipping
Yeah,
straight
yeah,
away.
honestly. Like,
But you know what? Like, I once saw this saying, it was like, you'll never find peace in something that's not meant for you. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's so true. You were meant to fly planes.
Always.
Not sit at a desk. So
Definitely
that's
not.
fine. You live and you learn.
Too high for this life.
we all are.
We all are.
Very true.
We all are.
Yeah.
Oh, so Jay, let's talk about a question that was actually asked by an aspiring pilot. What do you think is something that people coming into this industry rush in terms of a decision? What do you think like young aviators make a mistake on? So it could be during their training, finding a job, you know, what is it that you would say is a decision that is rushed?
I would say the actual flight school that they're choosing is very important, and the type of training that they're doing is very important. And it kind of shows you what pilot you want to be as well. Because you can be associated with the best airline in the world, and if they're not giving you the right training for you, then you're never going to enjoy it. You know, and you'll pass for sure. You're obviously there for a reason, and you have the ability and the skill set to get through. But when it comes to actually getting the job after, you're going to be a completely different pilot than you wanted to be. You know, so going back to me getting into the EasyJet program, I loved it. You know, that was like the dream at the moment. And now I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't get through with the money, because now all the training that I have done, even though it took me a bit longer, it's made me a much more well-rounded pilot. It's given me the global skills. It's given me the winter ops that most people don't even have. You know, and you know, you'll get to your first jet, and that's the first time you're going to have to de-ice. That's the first time you're flying in blizzards and IFR, like actual IFR conditions. Whereas I had that flying 172, so you just carry that over.
Just another day.
Yeah, exactly. You know, ice, that's nothing. So really take time into learning about what kind of flight school you want to go to and what their values are. You know, some are there for the money, some are there for the well-being of their students.
Very true.
Depends what you want.
And what made you switch to commercial?
I would say, so my family gets to go to India for free. That's probably
That is so real.
Every family's dream that.
I love that.
obviously Amritsar, everybody wants to spend their holiday time there, right? So that's definitely a plus. But I would say stability for sure. Being part of a bigger team, I really wanted to have experience in that as well, and obviously flying a bigger jet. But those are the main things. I think stability was something that was just getting away from me, you know, because even being at home for 13 days, at times it didn't really feel like I was home, and I was missing so many family events and birthdays and parties and gatherings. So it was quite tough, and obviously the insurance purposes too, and all the like loss of license, and that's things that you might not get as a private jet pilot, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah, depending on the airline. So those are the biggest things. I wanted to start an actual career now, you know. Yeah.
And what were you flying in your corporate life?
So I was flying the Challenger 850.
Nice.
Beautiful.
It was nice in the back.
Really nice.
It was nice in the back.
I'm so jealous.
Same.
Love that.
And what are you flying now?
The Dreamliner 787. So completely different. You know, one is like 24 ton takeoff weight, and the Dreamliner is 252. So
that's incredible.
Very, very different.
Same thrill when you're throttling forward.
No, it's a completely different thrill.
Really?
The Dreamliners fly by wire, so you don't have that hands-on feeling. You know, it's very real. Don't get me wrong, but obviously there's a bit of a delay in the turning and the engine spool-ups. It's a Rolls-Royce Trent engine. It's huge, you know. Whereas the Challenger, you know, you do that and your whole body goes that way. So it was quite cool. And there's just so many protections on the Dreamliner that you can't actually do anything you're not supposed to do. You know what I mean? Whereas the Challenger, you know, on ferry flights, you kind of wanted to experiment a little bit within the safety envelope and see what it was capable of, which was quite incredible. Yeah.
And how was the adjustment from flying the Challenger to the 787? How was that?
I think initially I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it actually was, but I started the type rating and I just completely forgot about the Challenger. And I think if you are doing that, going from one aircraft to the other, just forget about your previous airplane. Just tell yourself, you know what, you didn't even fly.
I think that is the best way.
And because otherwise you know, I realized certain aspects of checklists or memory items. I still remember the Challenger stuff. You know, I'm like, oh, engine failure, okay, speed, heading half bank. And then now on the Dreamliner, if we're talking about the briefings, and every flight, you know, you do the emergency briefing, I'm like, okay, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. But yeah, if you just disassociate yourself from the previous airplane, that for me, that really helped. So actually the transition for me was fairly easy.
Amazing.
It was more everything outside of the flight deck, you know, dealing with 10 other cabin crew, 258 passengers, so many doors and procedures. And like even in the Challenger, you know, when you're having controlled rest, you just tell the flight attendant, and we had no flight deck door, so they can come and see. Whereas now, obviously, the door is closed, and you have to be like, okay, we're going into controlled rest. I'll call you at 15 minutes. I'll call you in half an hour. It's very, very controlled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we are pilots in training. We're not in the airlines yet. yet, but we are kind of coming towards the end of our training and then also kind of preparing to enter the workforce that you're already in. What would be your advice for people in our position right now who are looking for work? What would you say?
I would say, again, like, pick the right airline for you. It might not be what you want right now, but I think you realize, you know, seeing all the different types of economies that we have and how the world has moved over the last 10 years, that you never know it's guaranteed. So if you're getting a job initially, just take it and wing it, you know. Yeah, honestly,
Wing it.
You're there. Yeah, wing it, exactly.
That's really reassuring from pilots. We're going to wing it, everyone.
Yeah, especially your first job. Like, you've done all the training, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's part of learning it in a whole different way. So yeah, it might not feel like this is what you've worked towards, but that will eventually come. So yeah, just get through the training, get your first job, get some experience, and then you have something to show for it at least, and then you can move on to whatever you like. So honestly, like, getting to this Dreamliner job took me years, and I always felt like in the private industry, this is not where I want to be. You know, it was fun, don't get me wrong, I had the best time of my life, but eventually I don't want to stay there, you know. So, and this job came around and I took it, and yeah, would never look back.
Wow.
You have done very well too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
really have. Yes, inspiration.
Appreciate
Definitely.
it. Thank you.
Jay, can you bust an aviation myth for us, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People always think that the autopilot flies the plane, but actually it doesn't. It's similar to the cruise control in your car, I would say. Like, it doesn't just work. You tell it what to do. You monitor it. It's, you know, we're monitoring the progress of what the automation does, and we're controlling it. It's a tool. It's not something that just does everything for us. You know, there's obviously certain parts of the flight you have to use it. And you have to have it operational, but you know, as pilots, you're there to monitor, to program, to manage it, to put data into it so it takes out what you want it to do. 100%. Another one, actually, I would say,
Go on then.
is people think the air in the plane is dirty, but actually it's not.
This is one people say a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, if someone sneezes, they're like always going to come back to me.
No, it's so. The air in the aircraft is recirculated,
But
you know.
Is it filtered as well?
It is, exactly. So most, especially the Dreamliner, has HEPA filters. So
Yeah.
they're all filtered air, and it will just keep coming back, and it's pretty clean.
Amazing. Okay, thank you for doing that. Now we are going to ask you a this or that.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be rapid. Please make it rapid. In the ones we've done before, it's never rapid, but
All right.
just hang out. And then if there is something you want to touch on again, we can go there.
Okay.
Okay, so Airbus or Boeing?
Boeing.
Yes.
Why? Why? Oh, you fly Boeing, of course. Will you ever fly the Airbus? I'm going off tangent. Sorry. Will you
No.
ever?
Yes.
No. Why?
Because growing up as a pilot, I don't want to do this. I want to do this.
Fair.
I'm not going to lie, I don't think we're going to get anyone that says that.
Do you think so? When we do get one, I'm going to celebrate. Okay. Long haul or short haul?
Long haul.
Takeoff or landing?
Landing.
Autopilot or hand flying?
Hand flying.
VFR, IFR?
IFR.
Chai or coffee before flight?
Coke Zero.
Like that.
I love that. Day flight or night flight?
Day flight.
RNAV or ILS?
RNAV.
RNAV?
Yeah.
Okay.
ILS is too easy. It's just.
Do you think so?
There, yeah.
Isn't RNAV easier? I feel like it's
No.
easier.
There's a lot of different ways to do an RNAV.
Okay, interesting. Pilot monitoring or pilot flying?
Flying.
Long layover, quick turnaround?
Long layover.
Corporate or commercial?
Oh, you got me there.
This is a big
You
one.
got me there. I'm going to say commercial because I'm really enjoying it right now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. After how long? How long has it been commercial?
Honestly, like 4 months. But I feel like at home.
This
This is it.
This is it. Jay has
This is
found
the big boy
his
stuff. This is
place.
what you dream of.
Amazing. Well, thank you. Okay, Devraj,
Yeah.
over to you.
We've got some sentences. All you have to do is just finish them off
Okay.
First thing that comes to your mind.
All right.
straight away. Right, flying has taught me.
Discipline.
The biggest misconception people have about pilots is
We don't have beards.
very true.
That's a
Very
good
true.
one.
Something passengers would be shocked to know is
That every noise is not something breaking, it's actually systems turning around and making things work.
I love that. I love that.
you know the Airbus flaps. That really scares some people.
Yeah.
The power transfer unit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, if I could relive one moment in my aviation journey, what would it be?
My first time flying a jet, and it was the best feeling ever. It's, you know, you've spent your whole life training.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know this is finished the sentence, but this is a paragraph now. You know, you spend your whole life trying to fly a jet, and then you're there, and you're like, this is quick, this is insane. So I would say that.
How high do you go in your jets?
41,000 feet.
Okay. 41.
The most Punjabi thing I do at 41,000 feet is?
Keep going to the latrine.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
love
drink
it
a
so
lot of
much.
water on the flight, so I'm constantly going to the back, honestly.
Love that.
Someone who believed in me before I believed in myself was?
My best friend.
Really?
Yeah, he was always encouraging me to go for it every single time. Even though I was like, I don't think this is for me, I don't think I can do it. But he's like, man, you got to do it. You got to do it for yourself, your family, and the community. And yeah.
And that's the people you should surround yourself with as well. The thing I hope people learn from my story is?
That you can be who you want and still be whatever you want.
I love that so much. That is amazing.
Perfect, amazing. That's the end of Finish the Sentence. We do have a few questions from our supporters out there that would like to ask you.
Okay, so Jay, our first question is from an aspiring pilot. Have you ever flown with another Punjabi pilot?
Yeah, actually. Flight training, one of the other Singhs was flight training with me.
Nice.
He was a Singh as well. And funny thing is, he's now, he doesn't fly anymore, but he's the head of a Gurdwara committee, like
Wow.
looking after this particular Gurdwara, which is quite amazing.
That is.
So he has that experience with him. But then professionally, I did actually do my line check on the Dreamliner with a Virgin pilot, and he was a full Sardar, full supporter of community service. Probably the biggest advocate of selfless service like you can ever meet. You know,
Wow.
one of the nicest guys, and that was an incredible flight. You know, to have me wearing a bug and another captain wearing a bug, and thinking, especially on the line check, and thinking that actually we're leading a crew of 12 of us and 258 passengers. Like, who would have thought? You know.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
So that was an incredible moment.
Amazing. Thank you for that. What is your favorite airport to land to, and why?
I will say, honestly, Nice is quite fun, especially during the corporate world. You get to hand fly the whole thing. There's a visual aspect of the approach, and it just looks beautiful. Lots of Greek islands for sure, but it's a little bit more restricted. But yeah, I would say Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the final question: what does the term "from fields to flights" mean to you personally?
It kind of portrays that every door can be opened for you, no matter who you are. And just because of your background, that should not make you underprivileged. It shouldn't give you the same opportunities as everyone else. So I would think that's the biggest takeaway from that. It's a great name.
Thank
really.
you. Thank you very much. Amazing.
We've got a little scenario for you. Okay, so you're...
This is technical.
No, not really, actually. It's actually
Might be
not.
wet. Might be wet.
Yeah, right. So you're on your usual day, woken up to the airport, and the engineers came up to you and was like, right, you got a delay. What fault? You've got a fault in, let's say, the FMC.
Okay.
You can't take off, right? And you've got a whole group of Punjabi pilots, not Punjabi pilots, Punjabi people outside waiting, staring at you.
Okay.
You need to go and tell them about this delay.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
let's say 4 or 5 hours. So you're delayed quite heavily.
Yeah, they need to ship a part out
Yeah.
Okay.
to
Okay.
your controls.
And this has to be in Punjabi, by the way.
Yeah,
How are
'cause
you gonna
they
break
don't
the
speak
news to them?
English.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go. Let's go.
I might as well speak in English because they're not going to understand my Punjabi. All right.
So let's say where
All right, this is good. This is good. Okay.
All Punjabi.
Yeah.
All.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ
Let's
ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਪਰ ਆ delay ਕਾਤੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਚਾਹ ਸ਼ੂ ਪੀਤੀ ਆ
ਅੰਡਾ ਪੀਤੀ ਆ ਪਰ
ਅੱਛਾ
delay
ਅੱਛਾ
ਕਾਤੇ
ਹਾਂ ਡਿਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਪਲੇਨ 'ਚ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਅੱਗੇ ਫਲਾਈਟ ਡੈਕ ਜੋ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਲੇਨ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਛੋਟਾ ਡੱਬਾ ਹੈਗਾ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਕੰਪਿਊਟਰ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਉਹ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ
ਉਹ ਅੱਛਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ ਬੜੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਹਰੀਸ਼
ਅੱਛਾ
ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਵੀ ਟਰਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਫਿਰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਤਾਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਆ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਡੱਬਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ
ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕੁ ਦੇਰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਸੀ
4-5 ਘੰਟੇ ਤਾਂ ਲੱਗਦੇ
ਡੱਬੇ
ਨੇ
ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ
ਨਹੀਂ ਐਵੇਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੂਟਕੇਸ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਸ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਡੱਬਾ ਬੜਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ
Okay, that's good.
I am literally crying. That
Oh
is
my
so
God.
good. That is so good.
Hopefully that never happens because I'm gonna lose my crap honestly. Oh my God.
You smashed it.
I feel more composed here than if I actually was speaking to the passengers.
That is so good. Oh, I'm literally in tears. Okay, I love that. Wow, you
Go.
pulled that off
Smashed that.
Let's
so
go.
well. You didn't even flinch. I love it. It was so good. Wow.
Thank you,
Well,
thank you.
Jay, the only thing we are left to ask you is what is next? What does the future look like for Jay?
I didn't really think about it, honestly. It's like this part of my life is finally coming together, you know, the career part. I think now it's kind of time to focus on the rest of it. Whether that means having a family in the future, whether that means moving out of London, finding another home, I don't know. But I'm always see how it goes kind of person,
Yeah.
you know, and it's been working out so far. So
Yeah, a long way with
yeah,
it goes.
still intentionally, you know,
Yeah.
just because you're winging it doesn't mean you're not adding some thrust, you know.
Yeah.
Winging
so-
it with a mission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of just enjoying the moment. Obviously, want to be a captain at some point. I want to go back to the instructing routes,
Nice.
Nice.
and then still keep my musical side aside, like some DJing maybe. So if anyone's getting married soon, let me
We'll
know.
hit you up.
I'll be
Yeah.
DJ.
We will. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jay, for
Thank
coming.
you.
This has honestly been such an insightful conversation. You've done so much. You've been through so much,
appreciate
and
it.
it's amazing that you're here to share your story. So we're very, very
No,
grateful
it's been an
to
honor
you.
being here.
It's been lovely having
Thank
you.
you. I have a question for you guys.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Since you are training in a completely different environment to what I was in, what is one thing that you're grateful for, but one thing that you would like to change about where you are as a trainee pilot?
That's a big question.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I'd say that I'm grateful for is having like supporting parents. I don't come from a rich or hefty background and not an educated, well, I wouldn't say that higher level jobs background. So I feel like my parents have genuinely trusted me and seen the passion that I have for this industry and invested into me basically. So I'd say I'm really grateful for my parents, mum and dad. One thing I'd change is the location of my training, but still right now, because I'm going through it, I do have the opportunity to change, which I'm looking into it. But I feel like where you train, it does have a massive impact. As you said, you're exposed to more, like, yes, I'm training in the UK and the Europe, I am exposed to a fair bit of different types of weather, but I feel like, as you said, USA is where you get the real gist.
Yeah.
So I would like to finish off there, basically.
Nice. You should definitely do it.
100%, I will.
Leap.
I will.
That's really cool. And it's, yeah, I mean, the reason I wanted to ask this question is to see if you feel the same as I felt when I was training like 10 years ago, and you know how much has changed. And honestly, having the parent support is one of the biggest things.
100%.
Yeah. Nice.
For me, I'd say one thing I'm grateful for, and I would change is, and it's kind of like a bittersweet one, the delays. I've had lots of delays, lots of setbacks, mostly financial, because again, I'm not from the most privileged background. But, you know, there are times where I'm like, I wish my training was smooth sailing. I wish I was able to go at 18 and qualify by like 19. But then it's something that actually my little brother said to me, if you had done it when you were 18, 19, you wouldn't be where you are. You wouldn't know the people you know now. So everything happens for a reason. And sometimes I do think, oh, I wish I was already a first officer. But then I'm like, if I did it all then I would have missed out on so many opportunities that I've got now. So it's something that I would change to a degree, but also I'm so grateful for, because I've met some of the most amazing people that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. And it's because of the timing. So yeah, that would be it for me. But it's definitely a difference seeing training now compared to then. There are similarities, but I feel like now the industry is booming, and I feel like sometimes it isn't able to catch up with the demand. And sometimes training is still as if we were 10 years ago, and it hasn't necessarily progressed how it should.
Yeah.
So there are definitely shortfalls, but on the whole, it is a great time to enter aviation, definitely. And
I agree.
I think it is becoming more and more inclusive. Maybe you wouldn't have the challenges you had back then now, or maybe 10 years in the future it'll be different. So it's always changing, and hopefully for the better.
Yeah, I agree. And you guys are going to smash it. So
Thank you so much. With your guidance and inspiration.
I'm not doing anything, honestly.
You're smashing it. You are setting the way. You
No,
really
not at
are.
all,
There's
not
so many
at all.
people that look at you and are so inspired. So keep
That's
doing
really
what you're
nice to
doing.
hear.
You're doing
Thank you.
amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Jay, so
Thank you.
much.
It's been a pleasure.
Been great having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely.